Chapter 16. I hovered there in the black, my Starblade systems humming a battle-ready tune. I was deep in combat sleep after so long it felt wonderful to merge with my beloved Blue Duchess once again. Across from me, the vast expanse of space seemed to hold its breath, stars twinkling like an audience waiting for the show to start. This was deep space. The planets of the solar system were just brighter stars at this distance. Jump points were picked to be places that nothing in the solar system would be passing through for as long as the stellar cartographers could predict. It was peaceful out here, just me and the beacon and the endless star-strewn night sky. I relished this peace before the coming clash. And there he was, Bookworm, floating in his mech that looked more like a fortress than a fighter. My mind, enhanced by my combat sleep, fed me all the details it could about my former mentor and his blade. "Yo, Bookie," I quipped, my mind's inner voice reaching across an arcane comms network translating thought into communication, with a smirk you could probably hear. "You sure you want to dance with the Ice Wolf? Last chance to run back to your library." There was a tense pause, the kind that filled the void between us with an electric charge. His stern mug flickered on my HUD, a mental picture of him as he was also deep in combat sleep, cradled in his command chair, all furrowed brows and disapproval. "Textbook Bookworm, your arrogance remains boundless, pup," he shot back, his tone as sharp as the edges of his mech. "Question is, can you back it up without recklessness?" "Recklessness?" I chuckled, feeling the thrum of energy coursing through my mana-powered veins. "Nah, just a calculated dose of awesome." We were two knights in cosmic armor, squaring off. Our words hadn't won the day, so now violence would settle this disagreement. The silence stretched a moment longer before I decided to prod him further, dialing up the tension. "Come on, old-timer. Show me if those joints are rusty or just well-oiled antiques." My mental hands danced over the controls, fingers itching to unleash a barrage of plasma fury. "Motives, Ice Wolf," he said, ignoring my jabs. "Why are we here? What drives you? Some pretty face you barely know. Do you even know what you are doing, the consequences of your actions?" "Simple," I replied, locking onto his position with a casual flick of a switch. "To be the best, you gotta beat the best. And right now, that's you, Worm. But not for long. Then come, young wolf," he declared, his mech adopting a stance of imminent warfare, a silent sentinel against the tapestry of space. "Let's see if your bite can match your bark." The air crackled with anticipation as we braced for the clash of titans. There was no turning back now. In the depths of space, with only the stars as our witness, it was time to let our mechs do the talking. I flicked a mental switch in my mental image of the Starblade's console, and the beacon's cloaking field shimmered to life. Its twilight drive sparked, and with an acceleration that would have crushed a lesser machine, it rocketed away to safety. "Clever girl," I muttered, knowing Jadestone Blood was keeping her precious cargo out of harm's way. The space around us became a stage for two actors only, me and Bookworm. "Let's dance, Worm," I shouted, mentally triggering my long-range plasma cannon. My mech, a masterpiece of metal and mayhem, technology at its finest, lit up the void with streaks of incandescent death. Across from me, Bookworm fired back, his salvos painting the black canvas with their own deadly artistry. In terms of space warfare, we were fighting at knife range, anything more and no shots could land on our dodging mecha. The space between us roared silently as our volleys met halfway, a ballet of bright destruction. His shots came in calculated, precise bursts, just like him. Mine? Rapid and relentless, but both were futile, our shields held firm, flaring brilliantly as they absorbed the fury we hurled at each other. Even then only one in a dozen came close, and even fewer hit our dodging Starblade's shields. "Is this the best you've got?" I taunted over comms, even as I admired his defense. There was no denying it. The old dragon had some serious tech backing him up, as he scored far more hits than me in this duel. "Patience, pup," his gruff voice crackled back. "This is merely the overture. Then brace for the crescendo," I replied, already planning my next move as we danced this deadly duet among the stars. Bookworm had switched his mecha back to his dual plasma repeaters, spraying out blasts of plasma, while I had my plasma cannon and PPC, slower firing but harder hitting. "Looks like we're at a stalemate, huh?" I chuckled into the comm, even as my mecha danced among the stars. My mind pinged me, warning me of incoming projectiles, not from Bookworm, but from somewhere else. Sending in the first wave of drones, Ice Wolf, Jade's voice crackled through, a grin audible in her tone. "Watch out for their little surprises." Before I could respond, the sensors blared a new kind of warning. Nuke drones, courtesy of Jade, burst onto the scene like deadly giant black bricks. They raced in close before with a silent boom. Their explosions shimmered against the backdrop of the cosmos, brilliant and deadly. The shockwaves rolled towards us, and I could almost feel Bookworm's shields wobble under their force. Time for a magic trick, I muttered to myself. Engaging the rift jump, I felt reality warp around me. A blink, and the explosion was where I had been just a heartbeat before. Then, with the fabric of space still rippling from my move, I snapped back into place, ready to pounce. Show off, Bookworm growled, his voice betraying a hint of respect beneath the annoyance. Part of the charm, I shot back with a smirk as I watched his shields flicker like a candle in a storm. They were holding, but the nuke drones had nibbled away at their strength. We couldn't hit him point blank with the drones since he would just shoot them, but nukes have a large blast wave, as the old saying goes, close only works with horseshoes, hand grenades and thermonuclear bombs. Once more with feeling, I said, already queuing up the jump sequence again. Jade's drones came in waves now, each one a glowing harbinger of destruction. And each time, I danced away in a rift jump ballet, letting the blasts chew away at Bookworm's defenses while I remained unscathed. Your parlor tricks won't save you, he snarled, but I heard the edge of doubt creeping into his voice, the radiation and interference interfering even with the arcane comm system. Who said anything about saving? I retorted, I was the hunter, and it was time for the kill. With a surge of adrenaline, I seized the moment. The drones had been the distraction, now, it was all about the attack. I charged, my mech's crystal engines roaring defiance as I sped toward Bookworm, my new sword in hand, gleaming like a bar of purple death. Come on, old man. Let's cut to the chase, I bellowed, swinging the sword with all the skill and determination that my training had hammered into me. It wasn't just a sword, it was an extension of my will, a conductor's baton orchestrating a symphony of destruction. Persistent whelp, Bookworm spat out, but I could tell his focus was faltering, his rhythm broken by the relentless assault. He might be a brick knight, but even his shields couldn't take that many nuclear blasts. He had to be feeling the strain by now. But up here in the void of space it was just him, me, and the cold expanse of space, our mechas locked in a deadly dance as old as war itself. Despite the fact that he shouldn't have known about my new rift cutter, he still dodged my first swing. Give him credit, swords are not really used in modern blade combat, yet still he dodged my first but not the second. Time to clip your wings, Bookworm, I taunted, slashing my sword forward with precision honed by countless hours in the simulator. The blade sang its hungry song, a high-pitched whine as it sliced through the void, and connected with a satisfying flash and unearthly howl. Bookworm's starblade lost an arm, severed from its body, it spiraled away into the abyss, a testament to my unyielding assault. Disarmed, quite literally, his silhouette against the backdrop of distant galaxies looked almost pitiful. Damn you, Ice Wolf, he cursed, his voice crackling over the comms, tinged with the bitterness of his disadvantage. That is your new weapon, it's just a giant rift cutter. Bookworm scoffed, drones and a rift blade, that is it? Show me something new, or is this all you have? Fight me for real, Bookworm roared over the link. I watched him come back with a vengeance. His shields flared back to full strength and he unleashed streams of eerily accurate plasma at my mecha. Can't touch this, I quipped, a smirk playing on my lips even though there was no one around to see it, rift jumping around him to stay ahead of his blasts. Being a jumper, I could rift jump all day, but he knew my tactics. As soon as I jumped, he was already jetting in a random direction and pouring plasma blasts at any place he thought I would appear. Bookworm was a cornered beast, unleashing barrage after barrage of plasma fire that would have fried any lesser pilot. But not me, not today. My starblade pirouetted through space, blinking in and out of reality when necessary, every blast missing by inches, or less, as I rode the razor's edge between danger and thrill. While it was metaphorical knife fight range before, now my win condition was to get within riftblade range of him. Face it, you're outclassed, I declared, pushing my mech to the limits. If it wasn't for the G-force's nullifying presence of my shield, I would have long ago blacked out. It was a rush, the kind you only get when dancing with death among the stars. Never. His retort was all stubborn pride, but his mech's movements were sluggish, the loss of an arm throwing off its balance. Sorry, old timer, but it looks like this wolf's got teeth. And with that, I prepared for another pass, my sword thirsty for the final blow. The giant rift sword sang in my grip, thrumming with the promise of victory as I circled Bookworm's faltering mech. I could almost taste the sweet tang of imminent triumph. Running out of pages in your playbook, bookworm? I teased, banking hard to the left as I let loose another volley of plasma bursts. Your arrogance, he started, but the rest was drowned out by the roar of my cannons, flaring brilliant against the void of space. Come on, give me something to work with, I taunted, the words bouncing around my cockpit, a private joke between me and the stars. His mech, a crippled dragon with one wing clipped, reeled from the relentless assault. Each plasma burst from my cannons was a crescendo in our deadly symphony, forcing him further towards the edge of defeat. But old Bookworm was wily, his mech still full of tricks despite the visible damage it had sustained. As I swooped in close, ready to carve another slice of victory with my sword, he initiated a rift jump. Predictable, I muttered, using my innate connection to jumping and the sensors on my blade. I pulled off a trick few could manage. My engines whined, pushing their limits as we tore through the fabric of space itself and followed him through the wake of his rift. Each class of Star Knights has a unique sub-ability that we mostly try to keep secret from the public to give us an edge. Jumper Knights can, if they are ready for it, follow other Knights through rifts, letting us chase down other fleeing Knights. These powers are almost exclusively used to fight another Knight, which is very rare outside of a simulator. Try again, I yelled into the comms as I emerged from the rift right on his tail, just in time to see his mecha re-materialize a few thousand kilometers away. The chase was back on, and I wasn't one to give up the hunt easily. Can't shake me, Bookworm, I shouted as I chased him, a predator in relentless pursuit of its quarry. This was more than just a battle, it was personal, and I wasn't about to let him slip away. Not now, not when victory was this close. Back off, whelp, Bookworm roared, letting me have a face full of plasma from his remaining arm cannon. Undeterred, I spiraled around the streams of plasma streaking towards me, preparing another slash, but once again he rift jumped away. Twice more I chased him through rift jumps, once to the Royal Guard base on the planet and once through the asteroid field. Both times he chewed away at my shields, and jumped before I could close with him. The damage was nothing my shields couldn't take, but it was still wearing them down. Finally he jumped back to where it all began and turned on me one last time. Again my mentor unleashed a storm of plasma against me, but this time I was faster, and with a quick jump I flashed past him, my blade slashing for his mecha's legs. With a bellow over the channel, Bookworm's shields flared bright solid red and my rift blade fuzzed as it made contact. Then I sped past, spiraling to avoid my opponent's fire. Bookworm called on his class's sub-ability Ultimate Defense. It didn't last long and it drained your mana at a frighteningly fast rate, but for a brief second he was invincible. Nothing could penetrate the shield while he was using this ability. Only downside, you can't shoot through or see through an impenetrable shield, so Bookworm let his shield drop down to normal levels to take some potshots at me. This is why I had to use the drones and why I engaged in this long battle instead of just jumping in for a quick slash. I had to weaken him and tire him out. My HUD lit up with warnings as I fired my thrusters to stop my charge and reverse it. If I didn't have my shield, the G-forces would have turned me into a pancake in my seat. I was also feeling the strain of this battle. I was a true jumper, but 30-odd jumps in a Starblade plus the feedback from the hits to my shields was taking its toll on me. A few plasma bolts whizzed past my mecha, but I came charging back for round 2. Bookworm's mech wobbled in space, his energy signatures flickering in and out like a dying star, his once impenetrable shield now failing him. I could feel the hum of my Starblade's power core vibrating through my seat, an eager beast ready to pounce. All at once Bookworm's mecha froze for a split second and his shield fuzzed out for just a moment. His little trick must have overloaded something. But in an instant I was on him, my blade flashed down and removed his mecha's other arm. Looks like it's checkmate, I said, voice steady as the thrumming machinery around me. With a deft maneuver, I aligned my mech's sword for one final strike. The blade, humming with arcane energies, seemed almost to sing with anticipation. My targeting system locked on, the reticle turning a solid, unforgiving green. Goodbye, old man, I whispered, and prepared for the final blow. The sword surged with a crackling aura, slicing through the void with a predator's precision. Then at the last second I was hit with that most dangerous emotion, doubt. The way Bookworm acted, the way he talked to me, it all felt off, like he was trying to goad me without telling me straight out what he wanted. I wasn't ready to end him, not just yet. He needed to answer for his crimes, and well, I just wasn't positive he needed to die. Also, without his mecha I would have the upper hand in a fight. So I pulled my strike at the last moment, praying I would survive this decision as I swept past without attacking. Bookworm's once formidable machine drifted, a husk devoid of its former menace. I watched, my breath catching in my chest, as the reality of my victory washed over me. Game over, I said, though my words were lost in the vacuum between us. I eased back on the throttle, allowing the silence of space to fill the cockpit. Outside, debris from our battle spiraled gently in zero gravity, creating a makeshift graveyard of technology and ambition. Jade, you getting this? I radioed back to command, my voice light despite the fatigue nipping at my edges. You rocked, way to go, Ice Wolf, came Jade's triumphant reply, tinged with relief. That was one hell of a showdown. Finish him, Helen screamed into the comms, he needs to die, send him to the Great Star Goat for what he did to me, and my father. Sorry, not yet, Princess, I still need answers, and well, he's not going anywhere, and he can't run from me. You're right, Ice Wolf, Jade chimes in, better to have him alive when the other knights show up to prove we aren't rebels. No, finish him now. I'm ordering you to kill him now, Helen screams into the channel. Sorry, Princess, but he is beaten and I don't kill the helpless. No, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Heck, this whole mess started because of Bookworm's kill first, ask questions never mentality. I responded, flying back over to hover near Bookworm's battered mecha. You will regret this, you should finish the job now while you have the chance, Helen hisses. Not happening, Princess, I say in a quippy voice. Also, I don't take orders from you. Also, Raptor Jesus teaches you don't kick your prey when it's down you. Haul it back to your nest and drain its brain. With a final hiss, Helen cuts her comm. Good choice, Jade says. That was one hell of a show. Can't wait for them to turn it into a vid so we can watch it with cheesy sound effects and an epic musical score. Sure was, I acknowledged, allowing myself a grin. Time to collect the spoils and head home. Send the beacon back to the transition spot, and hey, let's use the leftover drones for something good this time. Have them clean up this spot so the visitors don't see a dirty front step. And there, amid the floating remnants of battle, I took a moment to bask in the triumph, knowing full well that in this boundless expanse, every victory was fleeting. But for now, this one was mine, and I reveled in it with all the fervor of a warrior born among the stars. Hey, Ice Wolf, you ignorant pup, look at what you've done. You've failed your mission. The voice of Bookworm clawed its way into my cockpit, slicing through my victory glow as sharply as my sword had sliced through his mech's arm. I blinked, my victory-laden reverie shattering like glass under a boot heel as his damaged mecha drifted in the void before me, a testament to our clash. Failed? What are you on about? I snapped back, irritation prickling beneath my skin. I hovered there, my starblade idling with a low hum, sensors flickering over the crippled frame of Bookworm's once formidable machine. The mission, you scatterbrained wolf cub. His tone was acidic, dripping with disappointment and something else, urgency, maybe. Did you even understand your orders?